Hey, what's up, guys? Today we have a podcast, first time ever. This is with our 4D top student. It was a guy that made the FTML leaderboards, and he's here with us today. How you doing today so
Yo,
far?
what's up? Pretty good. Living life.
All right, so we're just gonna dive right into it. The first question I'm gonna ask him is, how long have you been trading for?
Say around 2 years and a few months.
2 years and a few months, right on. And what were you doing before you got into the whole trading thing?
So aside from trading, I'm also in the military as well. So I'm an aerospace engineer for the United States Air Force. Before that, I was in the Marine Corps as well. So I'm prior service with two branches, and that's about it. That's all I do. Military, trade, workout.
Okay, cool. You still in the military?
Yes.
All right. When is that finished, or are you gonna do that as like a long-term type of thing?
I'm in the process of getting kicked out because I chose not to get vaccinated, and then I
Right.
there was this whole meeting with the Pentagon with the commander that I had to talk to, and then turns out they're not kicking me out, but they're putting me in something called IRR, which means that they have the right to call me back in case of a war for
Right.
like the rest of my term.
Okay.
Yep.
Shit. How'd you get involved with trading? Like, how did that all begin?
Very ironic. So I finished basic training in technical school around like 2019 of September. I was in Texas, and I remember seeing some dude's phone. He's like, "Yo, what are you doing?" Like we were in class in technical school, like we're working on a plane, like learning about this plane, like what to do. And he's like, "Oh, I'm trading." I was like, "What the fuck is this chart?" I was like, "What the fuck am I looking at?"
Right.
So you told me about IML, and then he taught me how to trade by himself. So he never told me like, "Yo, you should join IML," but I heard about it. So
Right.
later on, like a month later, um, I saw some other dude on Instagram that was in my technical school as well that does IML, and then eventually I joined IML. I think November of 2019.
Uh-huh.
And then I caught on to the bullshit with that pretty quickly within a month, and then I just stopped, and then pretty much went solo ever since.
How was it in IML? Like, was it
Oh,
anything?
a bunch of bullshit. I caught onto that bullshit right away. So it's like right off the bat, I already knew something was wrong. Like all this motivation shit. I was like, dude, like motivation isn't jack shit. A lot
Right.
of people rely on motivation. And it's like, oh yes, like you're making a life for yourself, you need to you're gonna sacrifice a lot of your time to make this happen. The truth is like a lot of so-called traders are not going to be traders within like the next year or two because it doesn't suit their psychology or
Right.
it just doesn't suit them as a person. So honestly, like it all relies on your why, like your the discipline that you have within yourself. Like in my head, I convinced myself like nothing else is going to work other than trading. So
Right.
no matter how long it takes me, I was like, I'm going to make it work
Right.
regardless.
Makes sense. And what was like your trading experience when you first started? Were you losing a lot? Were you blowing accounts?
So when I started with IML, I was doing that signal thing. I was doing pretty good.
Uh-huh.
Then I fell for this scammer. Like I put in $400 and I thought my account was growing until like, a few $1,000s. Turns
Uh-huh.
out it was a scam. So I was pretty bummed out. And then yeah, after that, I think of October 2020, I put in 2 to 2.5K in my own balance. I brought it up to $11,000. I was like 11,800, or it was $10,800
Uh-huh.
within like 2 weeks,
Oh, nice.
just trading.
And did you end up blowing that account, or is it still there?
So with that account, I broke my psychology, I think, a week later with EU, and I was only trading US 30 and NAS.
Uh-huh.
So this is how I got into NAS. Like the only way to like compound your account in my eyes is through CFDs.
Mhm.
So I was winning a lot, like a whole lot repetitively with Nas, like in and out within like a few minutes. Like I was working at the time too. And I'll be making between I'd say 500 to like $1,000 daily on average, just like doing the same thing over and over again.
Right.
Trade EU, made maybe 500 bucks with that. Then like I think a few days afterwards, I took a loss. I was like, all right, I'm done. Took a loss again. Okay, I'm done.
Right.
So like that's where like my psychology pretty much fucked me over because I didn't listen to myself. So I
Right.
lost, I believe, 40% of that balance. Pretty much scarred me, and then like I took all the money out, and then yeah, like the rest is history.
Right. Yeah, it's when your account gets to like a certain size, it just there's always these plateaus, and it's just it takes some time to like break through it. I recently had a buddy, I think he started with $100. He grew it to like 3K in 2 or 3 days. And he was trading NAS. He kept trying to buy the dip and then just kept holding the trade. Like his psyche just wasn't letting him exit, you know. And it actually worked out for him because he kept holding it. And then I think he grew his account to like 5K, but he still held it. And then obviously today, if you saw the charts, it was just a massacre. So yeah, he blew the entire account back to 100. But
Jeez.
a lot of people, they don't realize that the psychology part is probably one of the biggest parts in the entirety of the trading game. It's like you got to be icy. Um, but yeah, and what is your current trading style? Are you still scalping, intra, swings?
Um, More of a hybrid, but most of it it's scalping. So I'll let's say I'll enter in a position around between 8:45 to like 10, maybe one or two positions, and then maybe one around 2 p.m. afterwards.
Uh-huh.
So this is in the new course that you have, but pretty much what I do is I always scale out when my positions are going in profit. So I'm always taking bits and pieces of my position out. Then I'll leave maybe I'd say I don't know 15 to like 5% like left running, and then just I'll let the rest run and
Right,
see where it goes. But you got to do things like that so you really compound your account. You can't just like hold the trade for like intraday trades. If it does do that, then that's why you have your partials
right.
to like make some more profits or somewhat.
And how many trades do you think you take on a daily basis?
Oh, maybe a few trades in a week. So it's not every day. So like I have to see something that's clean, like something that screams to me that says, yeah, buy now, or like, oh, like sell now.
Right,
So like if I don't really if I'm iffy about it, like 50-50, I don't take it. I might take it on like on a different account on demo to see how it goes, to see if I was right or wrong. If I was wrong, like I'll check out the reason why I was wrong and like move forward from there.
right. And based on like statistics or whatnot, do you pay attention to anything such as like a win rate? Like, do you try to maintain a win rate? Do you try to maintain a certain level of R or daily profit goal?
So the main thing I focus on is just my stop loss placement. So I focus where I want to enter, where do I want to exit out. So after that, then later on, once I'm tagged into the position, I'll find out like where is my TP, where am I going to get out, where am I exiting like majority of my trades. It's just at logical levels,
Right.
and like I move forward from there.
Okay. And did you have any sort of like mentors when you first started
Mm,
besides IML?
yes and no. So I had what's his name? I had a mentor called Jackson. He introduced me into ICT concepts, but he never taught me. He just introduced me into ICT concepts, and then I did my own due diligence and I learned all these concepts myself. But I didn't learn it traditionally, like how people will watch like the whole course thing. I didn't do that. I'm not wasting my time watching a whole hour a guy talking like some nonsense if he never gets to the point. So I
Right.
just learned up of my friend's charts. I figured out what this I don't know what an imbalance means and so on, or like or OB mitigation and so on. I was like, okay, this is what this means. I made many examples for myself, so I know like what it means, and so it's like drilled into my head, and that's
Right.
how I pretty much learned it. But
And then
yeah, I'd say that's my only so-called mentor.
right. And then we obviously had that private one-on-one or whatever.
Oh yeah, and then there's you. That's about it.
For sure. And what was like a point where your trading started like taking off where you're like, okay, I get this. Like I understand what I'm doing now.
A lot of you guys are not gonna like this, but it's gonna take a major loss when it comes to your financial account for you to like move forward. Like you have to have like the best way I could explain it is like you're sick of tired of being sick and tired. Like you just don't give a fuck anymore. Like you don't care what happens,
Hmm.
you don't care like what it does. Like it's just being like detached from your accounts. Like whatever happens, happens. Like if you lose 20%, you lose 20%, you lose 1%, you lose 1%, you just don't care. You just let
Right.
it run, you set your position, and that's it. But it's not gonna happen until something tragic happens into your psychology, so it builds you up from there. Because if you don't have a strong psychology, the markets will teach you how to have a
Right.
strong psychology sooner or later.
Exactly. And at what point in your journey did you end up like how long did it take you to become profitable?
Mm, a year.
A year. Okay.
Mhm.
That's a pretty good amount of time. And what was your biggest win?
I think this was an FTMO. Uh, let me check. I think it was like $7,400. That was my biggest win. And then when FOMO hit me, I guess my biggest loss was like around 5,000 something dollars.
Okay.
Let me check. Let me check that for you. Yep. So 7,100 was my biggest loss.
And did that affect you in any way, or were you pretty?
Oh no, I was good because all the positions I took, it was like valid reasonings to get into that buy or sell, and it just went against me. Like that's
Right.
it. Like
Makes sense. And what was your biggest lesson in your entire journey? Like, what would you say is the biggest thing that you learned from trading?
listening to yourself. So you set a rules, like some guidelines to yourself. You need to listen to yourself because if you don't, you're gonna have instances where like you will lose a lot more money than rather than if you listen to yourself. Let's say you lose 1%, you listen to yourself, and then you lose 5% because you didn't listen to yourself.
Right.
So you have that, and then like, you're fucked. But then you also have those moments too, where if you took those extra positions where you said, all right, I'm done, I made my 2%, you missed out on 3%. So it's like there's that yin and yang. It's like, I don't know what to do. Should I get in? Should I get out? It's just you're how do I explain this shit? Just take your money off the markets. That's it. Take your money wherever it goes after that, doesn't matter. Like, who cares? It dies 20%, doesn't matter. Like you made your money.
Right. And how do you handle your risk? Like, let's say you're in trade. Um, do you use like a certain amount of pips, or do you go by what the setup's presenting? So, if, for example, if you're in a trade, you see a really good setup, but the SL is going to be, 30, 40 pips, would you still take that trade, or are you going to wait for another opportunity where you can have a smaller SL?
I'll just adapt to like whatever my stop loss placement is at. So like I'll adjust it. I don't have a set like, I don't know, 5 pip stop loss and pip stop loss. It just depends on each scenario.
Okay. And what's your favorite type of like trading strategy? Like, what would you say is something that, like, hey, I understand this. This is like my favorite thing. Like when you see that, you're like, all right, I'm in that.
Um, to me, it's a mix of so there's 4D, there's QM, there's ICT concepts or SMC. And that's what it is. So there's like one setup I'll take that I combine all three of them, and then 95% of the 95% of the time it'll go my way.
Right. Cool. And do you have any psychology tips or anything you want to talk about as far as psychology to keep it strong and to not really get affected by like the movements of the market?
I would say have fun. So the only way for you to build your psychology is having your own live account, whether it's $10, $100. I was like, have fun with that account, risk what you want to risk. And if you lose that, a good fair amount of money, it's only going to build you like further on. It's going to build your psychology. It's like, all right, cool. I can't do this no more. Can't do that because you can't really build psychology without suffering, like without something bad happening.
Right.
So just embrace it. Like you might have a moment where like, oh shit, I should never got in. And like your eyes are glued to the markets. Like, oh, like should I get out of this trade? And you're going like deeper into losses, and eventually you just get out, and then you just learn from it and move forward.
For
So
sure.
allow yourself to fail. Like failure
Right.
is like the best thing that could happen to you.
Do you track like your failures? Do you like study, failed trades, or do you just move on and just look for the next setup?
Oh no, no. You need to study your field traits. As if you don't, then like you're not really growing from it.
Right.
And it's just gonna repeat over and over again periodically through your trading career, like cycle after cycle, and each quarter, like it'll happen indefinitely over and over again if you don't learn from it. So you
Right.
let it happen over and over again, and it's like the only person responsible for that is yourself. It's not the markets, it's you. Like you're the
Right.
problem.
And would you say like one of the biggest like like things that you learned was is something like getting into early or getting into late or chasing trades? Are you ever like falling victim to that?
Yes, there's sometimes I'll want to get in the trade really bad, and I'll just, I'll pep talk myself. I was like, yo, I'll just set my limit, look away, and I'll distract myself doing something. It could be work, or it could be, I don't know, some type of game, like, or
Right.
YouTube. Like, just entertain yourself, like, distract yourself. Because if you don't, if you're doing nothing, just trading, like, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna keep on checking that account over and over
Right.
again.
Right. I think we got two more questions. What's your daily routine like?
Ooh, good question. Honestly, it's hectic. So it's like I'll wake up, I'll do my bed, it's like I'll get ready, I'll do like my hygiene stuff, and then I'll work out, and then I'll trade. If not, I'll do the same thing I said before with like getting my bed ready and like taking a shower. I'll trade and then go to the gym and then either work doing something with my job or just, do something else to entertain myself.
Right.
That's
But
about it.
when you get onto the charts, is there any like specific routine that you go through before you start taking trades?
Not really. I'll just look at pure price action and see like what's going on. I don't see nothing. I'll just exit out the charts and I'll check again like 10 to 15 minutes later. It's just all based on timing. So like I'll check around 8:45 to like 10 o'clock periodically. If I still don't see nothing, then I'll just wait till like 2 p.m.
Right. And I'm sure everybody wants to know how was it when you made it to the FTML leaderboards?
Oh, I was very proud of myself. I was like, man, I came a long way. Like, I remember being stupidly upset over myself when I brought my personal account to like 11K to like 6K. That was like the biggest pivot for me. I was like, I'm never doing that ever again. Like I'll never let myself take a big loss like that ever again in my life.
Right.
So I was like seeing myself on top of the leaderboards, like compared to like a few thousands of traders who are trying to pass this, like who are struggling to pass these certain phases, and like I'm profiting off of it. It just felt good.
Right. And what was the number that or what was the profit to get on that FTML leaderboard?
Um, I think it was 12.5% I made. Overall, I made close to $30,000 with FTMO, and that's about it. But I don't reach my personal goals. Like my goal was a really absurd percentage gain.
Hmm.
You'll see this sooner or later, but it's like it's not close to where I want to be at yet.
Right. Got you. And last question. Any advice for new and struggling traders?
Create a plan, stick to it. If you fail, don't beat yourself over a trade, whether like you fucked up your psychology or something or somewhat. It's just embrace it. It's part of your journey.
Right. Right on. All right, man. Well, thanks for doing this interview. I'm sure a lot of people are going to get a lot from this. I'm still deciding whether or not to post this on YouTube or just keep it into the scalping group. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, guys. So hopefully that helped you out. I'll upload this first to the group, obviously, so you guys can have the first look at it. And Drew's he's active in both communities in 4D and in the Into the Abyss. Into the Abyss right now is a little slow because you guys are barely learning just psychology and some of the tools you guys need. So it'll pick up once you guys start getting into the core principles. But all right, man, thank you for being on.
No problem.
All right, take care, brother.